thing. So let's watch this tape. Okay, this TED speech is about leisure time, new leisure time. He mentioned an idea, a point. I think I would like you to pay attention to. So let's watch together.
The cow is quite obvious now, right? Actually, it's pretty much the same if we talk about the future of leisure time. The future of leisure time is absolutely obvious. We have this old...
Although the topic of this talk is about the future time, leisure, but pay attention, this is already 8 or 9 years ago. So maybe at his time, when he talked about the leisure time, the future of leisure time is almost now. Okay, so, but some of his opinions, I think, still is worthy to listen to.
Old saying in Germany that sometimes you do not see the forest because of all the trees. Well, that's not true. I mean, things are obvious, and it's a number.
I think time is limited. Time is limited.
Of hours we have each year. Now the big question is, how are we spending this tremendous amount of time that we are having? Are we spending it working? Are we spending it doing something we like during our leisure time? Or is there maybe something in between? If we divide this time, we could divide it into 3 sections.
Okay, 3 sections. Pay attention to this part. I will have a quiz for you today. So the answer is here.
The first one, of course, it's working time. When you're full-time employed, you work about 20% of your time each year. 1,618 hours to be exact. You have 29 days of vacationing, and you are sick for 7.6 days. Then we have this big, huge field, which takes about 55% of your time. Well, it's not working time, but it's not leisure time either. It's something in between. We call it obligation time.
Okay, so obligation time. All this obligation time.
Takes about 55% of your time. Well, it's not working time, but it's not leisure time either. It's something in between. We call it obligation time.
Obligation time. Keyword, obligation time.
Leisure time can be defined when you do something without having to do it.
Okay, so here is a definition by him. Leisure time can be defined when you do something without having to do it. So that's a freedom.
So it's this freedom of choice. Well, it's not easy to simply put an activity into this field. Think, for example, when you are visiting your relatives, is that leisure time?
Okay, so now he's talking about the leisure time sometimes is subjective, or the activity is subjective. Maybe for the same activity, for some people that's leisure time, but for other people that's not leisure time. It's like obligatory, right? Obligation time.
The 50s, the average
So
working
then,
time.
I think this is the part I would like you to have a look, because here's a short review of the this history of leisure time or leisure activities from the 1950s until now. I think that's a good brief review. So maybe you can watch by yourself. You can watch by yourself. First, the first question is, in addition to work, job, and leisure time, what's the third section? So the answer is obligation time. Okay. And here, another question is, pay attention to this part. Oh, not this one. Pay attention to here. Not, the problem is not that do not have access. So access is not a problem to the internet, to use the internet, to get online. So it's probably the major reason behind that. For some people, they are old group, the elderly people, or for those who has less education, to use the internet, or maybe some technology. The reason is not the access, the problem of access, but the reason is media competence. Okay, so here is the answer. I just tell you. Okay, then the third question, I think we try to compare leisure and then recreation. So if I have a statement, leisure and recreation is the same, so the answer is no. Okay, so the quiz or the exam is very easy. Just try to make sure you are there. You are awake. Okay, the moment you are getting married. So the family, we call it family life cycle. Family life cycle. This is I would say, is a very important factor to influence your leisure time, to influence your leisure activities, or to influence your leisure choices, your options. So keep in mind, in theory or in practice, this is an important factor to influence your leisure time. So if you want to be influenced, you may have a decision not to marry or not to have kids. Otherwise, the leisure time will be influenced by this. In other words, there will be a big impact of the family, of the marriage, on your leisure time. Okay. So I think this TED, although it's already 9 years ago, but still he briefly provide a good introduction of leisure time. Although his future leisure time at his time was not the future for us. His future is our now time, our current time. Okay, check by Google to see whether my guess is correct. So, okay, use quotation mark, L-E-I-S-U-R-E, leisure therapy. Leisure therapy is like 8,000, right? 8,000. How about recreational therapy? recreational therapy. Oh, you can see 3 million. Okay, 3 million recreational therapy, also known as therapeutic recreation. Okay, I think that's because recreation implies the to refresh. So maybe it's more appropriate to use recreation to prior to the therapy. Okay, so my guess is correct. Okay, here is a paper. Definitions of leisure and recreation. Maybe I will leisure and recreation. Leisure, okay. Free time, okay. Free time. Free from the demands of work and duty, and freedom, okay. Free time, okay. So definition from the literature, or maybe a state of mind, unobligated time, unobligated time. Okay. Spare time, free time, okay. Or largely discretionary time, okay. Okay, so here there are many versions of definition. If you want, you can apart from the obligations of work, family, and society, okay, free time, okay. You can look at the details. And how about recreation? Recreation to renew, okay, renew, refresh, okay, refresh, or here recreate, recreation, recreate. So refreshment of the strength and the spirits, okay. Chosen activities or experiences chosen or pursued. Recreate the individual so that he or she may be refreshed, okay, refreshed to enable him or her to resume daily obligations. Okay, so I think maybe probably you will agree with me that these two are not the same. There's some different part between these two. Okay, so this is I will put this in the truncast for you for your reference. If you want to look at the details, you can check it